Poetry is a star in the crown of human civilization. Poetry exists in everything in the universe, in love, in death, in trees, and most of all, it exists in all of us, and I plan to prove it in this episode of Life and Stuff. If you dig what I do, please like and subscribe. Poetry has a long and technical definition at wikipedia.com. Loosely, it says that poetry is literature that uses phonoaesthetics, sound symbolism, and meter to evoke meaning in addition to or in place of prosaic ostensible meaning. Sorry, Wikipedia, but that's too technical for me. Now, we could slice up a beautiful poem with the red ink from an English teacher's ink pen, but I don't like it when people castrate art. And despite what you think, there is no good or bad poetry. Poetry is when people document experiences. All experiences are valid. Now, there is relatable poetry, and there is unrelatable poetry.
I'm gonna try to do a little poetry for y'all. It's an original piece written by me, Fly Guy. And I want to dedicate this piece to all you players and all you ladies out there. The name of this piece is called My
Employee
Better Have My Money.
Early poets acted as historians and reporters. Society pans the future to the scientist. They give the present to the soldier. And society hands the past to the poet, so they can smooth out the mistakes and highlight the victories while watering down the failures of mankind. Well-made poetry makes you feel things and think things long after exposure. So I present our first poet, someone I was exposed to when I was about 9 years old, Tupac Shakur. Please, listen to this.
Back in elementary, I thrived on misery. Left me alone, I grew up amongst a dying breed. Inside my mind, couldn't find a place to rest until I got that thug life tatted on my chest. Tell me, can you feel me? I'm not living in the past, you wanna last. Be the first to blast. Remember Cato, no longer with us, see deceits. Call on the sirens, seen them murdered in the streets. Now rest in peace. Is there heaven for a G? Remember me, so many homies in the cemetery shed so many tears.
I'm sure you noticed the rhyme and the meter and the colorful use of metaphors, yet Tupac's message transcends grammar. Language is so far behind human emotion, we end up in places where no words fit. And try as we might, there may never be an emoji for everything. So to make up for the flaws in language, we have to confirm our connections with each other. We end up saying things like,
"Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?"
Or we end up saying things like,
that you could do so.
Japan has a long history of death poems, or jisei poems. These 5-line, 31-syllable poems represent saying a farewell to life. One of the oldest of these poems found belonged to Prince Otsu. He was a poet and the son of Emperor Timu. Otsu was forced to perform harakiri, which means disembowelment, in order to avoid dishonor. Prince Otsu was falsely accused of leading a rebellion against the emperor. Today, taking my last sight of the mallards, crying on the pond of Aware, must I vanish into the clouds. An Asian American student, Janice Marikatani, jumped from her dorm room window to her death. Her body was discovered 2 days later under heavy snow. Her suicide note apologized to her family for her less than perfect GPA. Here's an excerpt from that poem.
Not good enough, not pretty enough, not smart enough. Dear mother and father, I apologize for disappointing you. I've worked very hard, not good enough. Harder perhaps to please you. If only I were a son. Not good enough, not strong enough, not good enough. I apologize.
Poetry can be about looking deep inside. It can also be about commentary reflections of society, like with beat poet Allen Ginsberg's Howl, or Langston Hughes, with his poem Salvation, where Hughes deals with his personal religious disbelief at a church tent event. Poetry not only tells a story, but it explains the feelings that go along with it. Like in Dolly Parton's song Jolene, Dolly tells a story of a woman confronting her husband's lover, begging her to return him to her. It triggers so many relationship dynamics and insecurities. It deals with vulnerability. Just listen.
Your beauty is beyond compare, with flaming locks of auburn hair, with ivory skin and eyes of emerald green. Your smile is like a breath of spring, your voice is soft like summer rain, and I cannot compete with you, Jolene. He talks about you in his sleep, and there's nothing I can do to keep from crying when he calls your name, Jolene. Can easily understand how you could easily take my man, but you don't know what he means to me, Jolene. Jolene, 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 Jolene. I'm begging of you, please don't take my hand. Jolene, 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 Jolene.
Time continues to repeat itself. Sunday, Wednesday, Monday, Friday. Well, I lost track of time. I scribble random thoughts onto a sheet of paper. My friends need my help. I want to express myself. I want to feel free from believing that I'm empty on the inside. Time continues to repeat itself. This time you can't hide. I want to find that place I had in mind. You tread on sweet whispers in disguise in my lullabies. This you can't deny, shadows passing by. But I shall pluck, pluck, pluck this little spy. All thanks to my lucky star. I love him to the moon and back. No more dark corners. Let me rest without deceit. No more disguise. No captivity of the mind. No more whispers in my lullabies.
When I was in college, I wrote loud, angry, God-questioning, experimental, kind of communistic poetry. I also wrote love poetry. While in college, I had a friend who liked this girl who was totally into poetry. The girl thought my homeboy was cute, but without poetic prose, he was permanently parked in the friend zone. One night, my friend came down to the dorm room asking me to help him write some poetry so he could slide up out that friend zone. Me being a hopeless romantic, we wrote that poetry. The whole Cyrano de Bergerac routine. But for my people who don't read books, think about that Steve Martin movie, Roxanne. So, working together, we would work at night and polish his ideas until they would shine. He got the girl, but these false pretenses ended that relationship, hurting them both, as time revealed me and my homie's deceit. So in the end, poetry means a lot to me. It was a way for me to express myself when I had no other way. So on that note, I'm going to leave you with a poem from
This little light of mine, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. I'm gonna let it shine so bright, let it shine. This little light of mine will burn so bright that not only my people, but all people will see it burn. Burn, baby, burn.